Hey guys, Wise Gamer here. This time we're doing something a little bit different. I'm actually on the line right now with Slicky. He has a channel where we were just talking about the differences between like PlayStation VR, Oculus Rift, where the future is for virtual reality, augmented reality, and kind of where we see it coming up. So if you guys missed part one, make sure you check out his channel. It's down below. Definitely subscribe to him too. He does a lot of stuff similar to me. He talks about gaming industry in general, news in general, has some really great opinions. And yeah, definitely check out his channel. Subscribe to it if you want, and check out that part one. Then come over here for part two.
Yay! Jazz hands.
There you go, jazz hands. So,
Okay.
Slicky, I mean, we were just talking about basically VR. So we already talked about PlayStation VR, Oculus Rift, some of the other ones out there like Samsung Gear, Vive from HTC and Valve, Apple hiring people. And I mean, with all of this, we're talking about the hardware, but we're not talking about the full package. So my question to you is definitely like, where do you see the controller part of it? So right now, all of these still use controllers. Like Oculus uses like, what is it? The Xbox 360 controller is compatible. They have their own little controller hand things that you can use. What do you think about all that? And do you think that it's going to be there in the future?
Controller wise, in the next 10 to 15 years, I think the controllers that are used today by casual gamers and also PC gamers, those are the controllers I think are still going to be around. We're still going to use them because we are going to probably need to use those to set up like certain things. You know what I mean? In certain games. Just because you can't really depend on like a glove the whole time. Not now at least. But I feel like we're getting to a point where virtual reality, maybe like when I'm 30 or like 40 years old, I think we could probably use gloves and stuff. And augmented reality might have like a take for virtual reality where they could actually be a part of that. It's really hard to say. I just do think that controllers are still going to be around, the ones that we still use today, like the PlayStation controller, like the 360 controller, like the PS3 controller, like the SCOF controllers that I don't understand. But all of those, I think, we're still going to use for probably as long as gaming is still alive, which I don't think it will ever die. It will just keep evolving. So probably the controller will evolve into a glove, or it will be integrated with augmented reality or something of that sort, or touchpads.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that that's true up to a point too. And I mean, the controller, right? Like, let's define controller. It's just like the user interface, right? Like how you're interacting with whatever you're working with, whether it's a game or even your TV remote can be considered like a controller, right? Like the Roku's even got like games on there and stuff now too.
Love the Roku.
Yeah, I know, right?
I have one in my living room.
Yeah, awesome. I do too. So I mean, I feel like you said, like controllers are going to be there for a long time. Now, if we're talking about like, in the future, like let's say 15 years or so, where are we going to be at? I feel like what we're going to get is we're eventually going to get good enough tracking software that you can put on gloves, like what they use in movies that have like the little infrared diodes all over them. And that's how they film like characters that are doing like motions for animations and stuff in games too. So like, you can wear those full suits or something, but it's like, where's the line? Because as the average consumer, are you going to suit up basically to go play a game for this complete immersion type thing? I don't know if you're going to do that or not. I don't know if people are going to be willing to within the next 10 to 15 years. But at the same time, it's like we're kind of there already. Like if we're talking about virtual reality and I'm okay putting on this giant headset, who's to say I'm not okay with putting on like some gloves, like you said, that have like motion trackers built into them or something like that.
Or maybe one day there could be like a separate like kind of console kind of thing where it's actually only able to use like some kind of glove, or actually like, let's say Oculus or something like that, or the Hive, or the Vive.
I'm laughing some only because you reminded me of like the Power Glove from Nintendo, which was this huge failure that they did like a long time ago. But anyway, yeah, that's a topic for another time. But yeah, I mean, I think like right now Oculus is using like these two like Wiimote type sticks, and basically that's what HTC Vive has too, is like these two sticks that have a bunch of like LEDs on the end, and that's how they're tracking the stuff. And it's kind of like how PlayStation Move did it, right? You have the two sticks and they have the glowing bulb on the end and stuff like that. Or Wii's doing it with infrared with the little sensors and stuff too.
Yeah.
I think the problem right now is that stuff's wired. So I think we're going to go see wireless controllers first. And then we're going to slowly see it leave and go into like a Minority Report style of scrolling through computer screens where it's like touchless. And you just wave your hand and it pulls up stuff. Or in the Matrix, you can just pull up stuff in front of you. Or, all those movies that do that type of like virtual reality type thing. I know you talked about like Sword Art Online some before we started filming here, and how like amazing and immersive that is. And it's like I can see that happening. Like I can totally see us getting something to that point where you just kind of have like your body movements are how you move throughout the game and stuff like that too.
Yeah, like, can I explain that really quick? Like, the Sword Art
Yeah,
Online
yeah.
part. Yeah, so, like, if you haven't seen a show called Sword Art Online, it's basically about this guy who, or, like, this world, like, 2022, I think that's when this show
It was
took place.
pretty far out there, yeah.
Around that, like, legit, like, only, like, 6 years away from where we're at now. Anyway,
Say it that way, yeah.
yeah, this guy's able to put on this thing called a nerve gear, and it like locks into his nerves, and basically any movement his body would make in real life, he makes in the game. But also, the game also kind of gives him this little push, so he can do things that he can't do in real life, like jumping up. I guess maybe like 10 feet in the air. I bet that's possible. Or being able to do all of those things, or acting like he has wings, but he really doesn't have wings in real life. It's really cool, and then like I want to see gaming going into that. I want it to go down that route, and I think that's the point of games, is to really be fully immersed into an artificial world. But but at the same time, I feel like that's a problem, because you don't want to be that dad who comes home from their 9 to 5 job and they ignore their children, they ignore their wife, put on their headset, sit on their ass, and they just kind of go into this other world, while all these other well, like, family members are just like, why do you hate us so much? But either way, like, I mean, it's still something that I think that the world wants, and something that it desires. And I think that's something that we're going to keep pushing towards.
Yeah. Yeah, 100% agree with that too. So I mean, it's one of those things. It's like you talk about like mind share, basically, right? And like accepting this idea or adopting the idea of like, hey, maybe we will have a world where people come home and they just play games where I mean, talk about like shutting yourself out from the world, right? Like, as it is, as gamers, what do? We come home, we hop on our computer, we put on a headset to play a game or something, right? And we don't talk to people unless we're playing online with them. We're playing a game online or something,
Yeah, unless you're cussing somebody out on Counter-Strike Global Offensive because they just like
Yeah,
hit you with an AUG
exactly.
and, stuff like that.
Yeah, they hit you with an AUG. Yeah, so it's like when you talk about that, it's very hard, I think, for people to get that mindset down. Like I'm 25, I turned 25 here soon, and I know my dad. Then again, he's a little bit older for people my age. He's in his mid 60s now, but my dad, he still doesn't get the idea of like he says, hey, how come you don't spend family time and like watch TV with us? Because that's the thing that people did when he was a kid. Like as a kid, he was born in the 50s. Well, he was born in 1950, and like when TV came out, like they sat around and listened to the radio together. They sat around and played board games as it got on. They watched TV together, and later color TV and stuff like that, right? And it's like, as our generation, like my generation, your generation, we don't do that. We don't have that interaction. People send text messages to their parents when they're on the other side of the house. Like, it's crazy, but that's where we're at. And I think that
great point.
Yeah. I think the idea that people aren't used to that, like they aren't ready for that yet. Like parents are not ready for that. Now, when you talk about like, if you want to have kids, I don't know if you do or not, but when you talk about that, like, are you going to be okay with your kids basically ignoring you because they're playing a game? Like that's a question that you got to ask yourself as a parent in our generation. And it's something that like our parents never thought of asking themselves because they didn't have that basically. So we're coming up with like new obstacles is my point. And I think that it's interesting to see where virtual reality will be in the future, like how accepted it'll be in mainstream society.
Yeah, at the same time, do you want to go?
No, you're fine.
Okay, so actually what you said, I wonder if we could come across that obstacle. If, like, let's say my mom is like, I'll jump in that game with you. Like, can that be a thing where it makes bonding stronger? Because you're still spending time with each other, but at the same time, if virtual reality is so immersive that you literally are just the same person, you know what I mean? I wonder if that could get over that obstacle of feeling like you're isolating and secluding yourself from the people around you and you're ignoring them.
Yeah.
If that does become a thing, an issue, which it most likely will be already with the Oculus releasing and stuff like that. If it really gets to a point where everybody starts using a PlayStation VR or a Vive or a Rift, But yeah, I'll let you go.
No, yeah. I mean, it's a great point. And like, I know, talking about Sword Art, I don't know if you guys have seen it or not, but Sword Art, the first one, has that with one of the characters where like the mom finally puts on the I forgot what the thing's even called, but puts on the thing and like realizes like, oh wow, this is the experience that you've been talking about all this time, and I understand like why you enjoy this and everything. And it's like a very like heartwarming moment. Like, oh wow, okay, the parents are finally realizing like this is why their kids enjoy gaming and stuff. And like you said, like our generation is gamers, right? Like a lot of people game in our generation. I think they do at least.
Oh yeah, we do. Oh hell yeah,
Yeah, hell yeah, we
hell
do.
yeah.
Yeah. And my roommate, for example, he's in his mid 30s, well, late 30s now. He's going to be turning 40 here pretty soon. So yeah, I guess he's late 30s now. He plays games. He plays Minecraft with his kids. He's got a 10, 11, and 12-year-old, and he plays Minecraft with them, and they love it. So I think there's definitely a place for that, but it's like, who's that market going to be? Are you going to have a family of people wearing VR headsets and stuff like that? Like, is that going to be a thing? I don't know. And I think that's where like the market's going to have to get defined. And that's where people are going to have to get bought in. You know what I mean? Like right now, like the parents are, the people that watch Oprah still some and like kind of take Oprah's word as God, right? Like, or like, they hear it on the doctors or, whatever it's like those talk shows.
Oprah is
stuff,
God.
Right? But I mean, like, we don't have talk shows, like mainstream talk shows on TV that talk about gaming.
There was a G4, but yeah, that died. That died.
It wasn't mainstream though, even.
Yeah, it wasn't mainstream, was it? Yeah.
G4 TV was the first, like, hey, we're on television.
We're here. We're talking about games and stuff, and
yeah.
I know there's the internet, but I mean, hey, like.
Well, and and that's the thing too. Is like the internet's there, but how many people? Like when you talk about like again the elders, right? Like the people like I'm going to be an elder and I'm going to be a gamer elder, right? And I look at that and I'm like I'm going to be this old person that's like back in my day when the PlayStation 4 came out, blah blah blah. And it's just that to me is so different than like what we face right now, where people just don't have that same experience. I mean, my dad, he's played games when I was a kid, but like. He played Atari. He played NES with me. He played some old school like Windows 95, Windows 98 computer games, a few XP games and stuff. He's never played like a Battlefield 4 or Call of Duty in that sense. Like he played Call of Duty 1 when it was still like story mode only. I played that too. I love that game, but he didn't play, Call of Duty like Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, which brought multiplayer to Call of Duty, multiplayer as we know today to Call of Duty. So there's just a lot of things I think that still have to happen. Do you think 15 years is enough time for that to happen? I think so. I think gaming will be considered like a mainstream thing at that point. Like everyone in the world type thing would at some point have played games, so it's not going to be as crazy.
Yeah, for complete immersion.
Complete immersion, I don't know if that's going to be there. So I know before this we talked about some stuff. The technology is so new, and last part we talked about some of the standardization issues and stuff too. Like right now, I know there are things like these spheres that are kind of like giant hamster balls, and they were seen on Shark Tank like a year or two ago, and they're talking about like, these are going to be great because you just keep walking basically forever because the sphere just continually rotates forever and stuff like that. Yeah. And like, as cool as that is, I don't see that as being very practical for the home because they're so big and
it looks so funny. Like
it looks ridiculous. Yeah.
But at the same time, like I wonder if like they're just like, but we also want to use this for like military simulations. Like I wonder if that makes people go like, well, wow, like that actually is a good idea. I mean, they might prefer you to use it for that. But at the same time, like they'll probably be like, that seems like a lot of fun too. I mean, if it can immerse somebody much to get them trained, you know what I mean, to fight for their countries. I feel like that gaming-wise, I feel like it wouldn't have that hard of a time getting into that. Then again, you can't fit this big hamster ball into your room, of course. But but I mean, like you could get like a little smaller version or like something like that, or the virtual Omnics that we were looking at. I mean, before
those things are amazing. Yeah,
like that thing. That's just like a little pad thing that you just run on. Like that's crazy. Like legit, if you're talking about full immersion, you probably need like all the 5 senses, right? I'm probably not even going to list them off the top of my head, but you need hearing. We got headphones. Okay, we got headphones. You probably need sense of smell. That's not really necessary. I don't really feel like smelling, you know what I mean? Like what's in the game.
Yeah. You don't really need that.
I can smell my dusty, humid room if I want to. That's completely fine with me.
Yeah.
You have everything really except for touch and smell. Smell you could toss out of your window, which I need to open because it really actually is humid in my room. Like, I'm serious. And then, but touch is that one that like I feel like you would need for full immersion. That is the one that's the hardest. 15 years? Yeah. I mean, hopefully. I mean, I bet
15 years is enough time. I mean, it's doable. It's just going to be very, very tough, I think.
I think we're all going to live forever. Anyone that's alive right now and is under the age of 40 years old will live forever. because nanobots or something like that will take care of us in our body.
Yeah.
I'm science-wise, I am just very, very like hopeful,
Optimistic
basically.
and stuff.
I'm
Yeah,
very
yeah.
optimistic. I'm probably gonna actually. I don't want to say that, but I feel like I'm like if I die. Like I really don't think it's gonna be like anything really that like spectacular. Like I feel like I want to get to that point to where I can be like what Deus Ex Human Revolution, or like I can have like augments and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Just like some completely badass. You know what I mean? Living up to that point. But I mean,
and I mean, I think we're getting there, and that's the thing. It's like it's so hard to say. I mean, people. Going back to like my dad's age, right? So like that were born in the 50s did not think that we would have what we have now. You know, I mean,
yeah.
in the last 100 years, well, just over 100 years now, like airplanes, like we just got human flight in the beginning of the 1900s. You know
Holy
what I mean?
shit!
Like automobiles, beginning of the 1900s. Like there's a lot of stuff that we take for granted every day. This is kind of a completely different topic, but just the fact that like it's so hard to judge where we're going to be at, right? Like that's the main issue that we have with things. So can we get complete immersion? Yeah. Is it going to take a lot of work? Yeah. Are we ready to do that work? I don't know. When you look at things like the Omni, like we were talking about, you know, you see the guy, I think it was originally the promo was kind of like the guy was playing Skyrim.
Yeah.
And he was using a Wiimote and nunchuck for the motion control of the hand movement. He was using an Oculus Rift for head movement and head control. He was using the Omni for picking up his feet detection, and I want to say he used something else on top of that, like the shock vest or something like that, to get like the the force feedback of when he got hit. And it's like when you think about all that junk involved, like okay, maybe we're a little bit further out than we thought for this thing. And there's just a lot of parts that are involved there. And think about how many companies would have to partner together for that to happen.
But also imagine if they had the funding though to really like make their own things, you know what I mean, and make like their own like controllers and all these things. That I feel like would be enough for me. Actually, we don't need complete. I want complete full immersion. Yes, I really do. But I mean, if this was as far as we could go for the next 5 years. You know what I mean? I'd be completely fine with that.
Be happy, yeah.
I'd be like that's awesome. If I can actually like play CS:GO and get opt like directly in my face, I'd be like, this is awesome. I mean, I still suck at the game. I'm actually worse.
Yeah, right.
But I mean, this shows my skill if I actually did this in real life. But it's still fun, you know. And I feel like the Omni actually is something that I feel like not many people are talking about. Now I think about it, that got put to the back. You know what I mean? Like kind of got stuffed in the back. With all the other random inventions that other people think is stupid. But I think the Omni is probably something that we should look at, and the Oculus. Just those two combined, honestly, are enough. That's really... Even if you just had to use a keyboard and mouse still on the Omni, which would be kind of weird because you're jumping up and stuff. Yeah, actually... But at the same time, it's still cool.
That's what I'm saying. There's a lot of parts that need to come into play, and that's the reason why I think we're still pretty far away from it. Now, is it like impossible for it to happen? No, of course not. You know, but is it likely to happen in 15 years? You know, that's the tough part again. It's like, you know, where are we going to be at in 15 years? And it's doable. I think it's doable.
As long as we're living forever.
Yeah, and I mean, I think we can all agree, like, flat out, at the end of the day, it's definitely the next big thing. Like, it is what we're going to be working on forward. I think that virtual reality is going to take off. I don't think it's a matter of, like, if, it's a matter of when. I just think that there's a lot of players involved, or a lot of moving parts involved in, like, what it's going to take to get that done.
Yeah, I am getting my full immersion. I will get it. I will force it upon somebody. I don't... Bill Gates, well, he probably won't listen to me because, you know, he's
kind of not involved with Microsoft as much anymore anyway.
I wonder if someone could actually convince that guy to really go ahead with this, like, seriously. Like, look at, like, you know, HoloLens and stuff like that. Like, I wonder if someone could actually convince some billionaire. It's like, hey, you know what I mean? The Kinect was shit, but hey, if you do this... You know what I mean? You won't look that much like a failure, like something like that. Like you need.
That's pretty cool.
I need somebody. We need to find somebody that would just give billions of dollars to virtual reality and just looking into that, or living forever and then using that time to go and get like virtual reality and make that full immersion thing actually happen. But really, like I think virtual reality. Well, to put my input on it, I'd like to see it happen in 15 years. I think that. It possibly can to an extent.
Possible.
To an extent, I bet it won't be. I bet I could imagine it being tested. Actually, yeah, tested. and then probably failing in some way and controversy. For some reason, I imagine something bad.
That's a good point.
There. But yeah, I don't know. I'm up in my head right now about that. You know, because I really want full immersion, Weiss. I really want full immersion now.
I know.
I'm out of it, man. It's like 9 o'clock at night. I'm hungry.
I think full immersion can be there. It's just, like I said, I think, like you said, it's going to be testing still. And with the testing part of it, it's like at that point, do we have full immersion? Not really, because you're basically at where we're at now. I think we're going to be a lot further in the testing. We're going to be close. Maybe where we are with Oculus right now, where it's like coming out as like the first version of what we could do. Mm-hmm. But I don't think we're gonna have this full on, like, this is what
Nerve Gear, Sword Art Online.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I think it is the next big thing when it comes to gaming. How far can you take it? And honestly, I think virtual reality is the last stop. It really is. Besides living in that world, which I don't really want to do.
Sword Art Online, yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to die. So, I don't want to die if I die in the game. Like, I mean, that's as far as you can take it. But I mean,
yeah, I think it's the next big thing too. I think that's where we're going. And look at movies like, even like Disney had WALL-E. Disney Pixar had WALL-E, and like everything was like AI controlled and stuff like that. Like, I think we're getting to that point in our lives where like that's where we're looking for stuff.
Yeah.
And I really do think it's going to take over. So I think with that being said, though, I mean, you guys tell us what you think down in the comments. If you got to watch both episodes, I appreciate it. And definitely go ahead and check out Slicky too. His channel is going to be down below. Yep. So make sure you check out part 1 and everything as well. And anything else? Any closing words?
It's either virtual reality or touchpads. Like, I mean, what? You either make mobile gaming become like the next big thing. Like, we've been talking about that before. Like, years ago, mobile gaming is going to take over, consoles will die. I'd rather virtual reality kind of be that thing to make consoles die. Because for some reason, I imagine virtual reality one day, if it gets big enough, might be the console killer, if that makes any sense. For some reason, like, I feel like it'd just be like only people will make virtual reality games, like companies dedicated to that and developing consoles kind of like that. It will basically be a console. But at the same time, it'd basically be a computer. You know what I mean? Like,
no, I know exactly.
It's integrated with PC. It's really hard to say, man. Like, this is a very confusing thing where it's like, it's very opinionated.
It's tough because we don't know exactly where it's going to be going. It's very early on, and I think that's the story to tell, right? Like, it's just so early on. It's hard to tell what we're going to get, and I think we can just both agree, like, it's exciting time to be a gamer, and really see where we're going forward with everything.
Yep, that's all I got, man. That's all I got. Thanks for having me, though, Weiss.
Yeah, no problem at all. Thanks for having me on your channel as well. And again, guys, if you haven't seen the first part, make sure you check out that as well. Otherwise, we will see you next time. Go back to my regular programming, quote unquote. And if you guys like the video, make sure you leave a like. Otherwise, go ahead and leave some comments down below as well. Tell us what you think the future of augmented reality, virtual reality, and any other thoughts you might have about the video. And we'll get back to you there. Thanks, guys.
Peace.